Question 11. We have to state first of all the coordinates of f. Well, we can see that the coordinates of point E are 5, 3 and 1. So 5 is the x direction. So that measurement there would be 5, because we're going along 5 in the x direction. 3 is the y direction, which we can see from the grid there. Y is there, so that is in the y direction. And then lastly, 1 is the z direction. So that measurement there has to be 1. So we've gone along 5 in the x, 3 in the y, and 1 in the z direction. So if E is 5, 3, 1, F is going to be 5, 3, and we've not got anything in the z direction, so it's just going to be 5, 3, 0. For point G, we've not got anything in the x direction, so that's going to be 0. We're back in line with F, so that's going to be 3 in the y direction. And just like F, we've not gone up at all, so it's just going to be 0 in the z direction. Now it's asking us the shortest distance between points D and C. Well, that is the measurement from here to here. So what we can do is create a right-angled triangle. Because it's a cuboid, we know we've got a right angle in here. So if we can work out this measurement here, we can use that one and that one to find out this measurement between D and C. So what we're going to do first of all is look at this little triangle here. Well, the base of the cuboid is a rectangle, so there's a right angle in the corner. If that's 3, then that has to be 3 as well. So basically we've got a little triangle with 5 and 3 as 2 of the sides. I'm just going to call that side A. So A squared equals 3 squared plus 5 squared. That is 9 plus 25, and that's 34. So A equals the square root of 34. Now we could write that as a decimal, but it's a little bit neater just to leave it as a third there. We're then going to use the fact that this measurement here is the square root of 34. The vertical distance is 1, so that's going to be 1 here. So we've got 1, we've got 34. So we've got a second little triangle, so 34, root 34. So 1, root 34, and we need to find this measurement here. We'll call that one B this time. So therefore B squared equals 1 squared plus root 34 squared. Now you know from your knowledge of surds that if you have the root 34 and then you square it, it just becomes 34. That equals 35. So therefore B equals the square root of 35. And just checking for any units, doesn't say any units, so I'll just write units down. I could change it to a decimal. It doesn't specify whether it wants an exact answer or not. So if I was to change root 35, I could just use a calculator for that. And that would be, to one decimal place, 5.9 units. Now question 12. We've got a formula for the height is equal to 10 plus 5 sine t, where t is the number of seconds after starting to turn. We've got to find the height of the carriage above the ground after 10 seconds. So this is what t is equal to. So we can just say the height is 10 plus 5 sine 10. So typing that into your calculator, and you're going to get 10.868, etc. So we'll just say 10.9 meters. For part B, we've got to find the 2 times during the first turn of the wheel when the carriage is 12.5 meters above the ground. Well, we know that the maximum height is 15 because it's 5 sine t and then plus 10. It's going to give us a maximum of 15. So if the maximum is 15, the minimum would be negative 5 plus 10 would be 5. So the minimum is 5. So the 2 times when it's equal to 12.5, so it's going to be around about here. At that point there and that point here, it would be 12.5 meters above the ground. So we need to work out at what 2 times that occurs. So that's when the height is equal to 12.5. So I'm going to change h for 12.5. So 12.5 equals 10 plus 5 sine t. Now we're just going to solve this equation, so subtract 10 from both sides. Divide both sides by 5. Now 2.5 over 5, I can see there's just a half. So sine t equals a half. Now, if it's a calculator paper, of course you can use the calculator to find out the inverse sine of a half. That's one I happen to know off by heart, is 30. Now, it's not going to be in degrees because it's a time that we're solving for, so it's 30 seconds rather than degrees. Now, it's asking us for 2 times. So when you're doing it, you can work out using your what's often referred to as a cast diagram. So that would be 180 minus 180 plus 360 minus. So if we've got 30 seconds, that's in here. Because sine is positive, we're going to take A and S. Our second answer is 180 take away 30 equals 150. So our 2 answers are 30 seconds and 150 seconds.